Hey guys, welcome back to Signs and Wonders. Thank you so much for watching. This week's going to be great, guys. I have a few interesting guests coming on the show and a couple of exciting live debates planned. So make sure if you're not, subscribe so that way you'll be notified when we go live. So today is August 18th, 2020, which also happens to be my birthday. So happy birthday to me. And here's your end times news, everybody. The hail was very heavy, fire flashing in the midst of the hail, such as had not fallen on the land of Egypt since it had become a nation. Exodus 9:24. Freak summer fire ice hailstorm hits California as written in Exodus. Recently, the National Weather Service issued the first ever warning for a tornado caused by fire. A wind vortex generated by a wildfire in Northern California created a pyrocumulonimbus cloud. Such clouds generated by extreme heat like that found in a wildfire or volcanic eruption can be accompanied by tornadoes of fire, hail, and lightning. Dubbed firenadoes, the combined effects of these phenomena can cause greatly increased fire spread and cause direct dangers on the ground in addition to normal fires. A pyrocumulonimbus from the Loyalton fire is capable of producing a fire-induced tornado and outflow winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, the Weather Service warned. It was located south of Chilkoot and is nearly stationary. This is extremely dangerous for firefighters. Firenadoes are among the rarest weather phenomena on Earth, with only one other such event being well documented to date. And this one had the distinction of possibly being the strongest tornado in California's history, with surface winds that exceeded 143 miles per hour, making it the equivalent of an EF3 tornado. Preliminary reports included the collapse of high-tension power line towers, uprooted trees, and the complete removal of tree bark. The conditions for the firenado began when a wildfire was reported on Friday afternoon, sending 300 firefighters from local agencies and the U.S. Forest Service to fight the fires. Despite their best efforts, by Saturday the blaze spread to more than 2,000 acres and was only 5% contained. The National Weather Service Reno office issued a warning that the fire tornadoes may be accompanied by penny-sized hail. Fire tornadoes are very rare and little is actually known about them, but they can be deadly. The image of hail falling while a firenado ravaged a landscape is reminiscent of the biblical seventh plague, hail that appeared with its elemental opposite, fire. Death Valley hits record-breaking 130 degrees. California's Death Valley hit 130 degrees Sunday, shattering the August record not only for the region, but also for all of North America. Sunday's reading, the third hottest temperature recorded on Earth, and the hottest since the 1930s, comes as the western United States continues to see scorching weather from Arizona to Montana. As many as 52 million people remain under the heat alerts in the West on Monday, where some could see temperatures between 110 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat is expected to last throughout the week, possibly setting more than 100 new daily record highs. The heat wave, which began Friday, triggered power outages throughout California as the state's power grid became overwhelmed by energy demands. Japan suffers its biggest economic slump on record. The Japanese economy has shrunk at its fastest rate on record as it battles the coronavirus pandemic. The world's third largest economy saw gross domestic product fall 7.8% in April to June from the previous quarter of 27.8% on an annualized basis. Japan was already struggling with low economic growth before the crisis. The figures released on Monday are a stark reminder of the severe financial impact faced by countries around the world. Japan slipped into recession earlier this year following 2 successive quarters of economic contraction. The latest data for the April to June quarter was the biggest decline since comparable figures became available in 1980 and was slightly bigger than analysis had expected. One of the main factors behind the slump was a severe decrease in domestic consumption, which accounts for more than half of Japan's economy. Exports have also fallen sharply as global trade is hit by the pandemic. The latest data is the third successive quarter of declines for the Japanese economy, representing its worst performance since 1955. The downturn puts further pressure on a Japanese economy that was already struggling with the effects of a sales tax hike to 10% last year, along with Typhoon Hagibis. After the slump, Japan is hoping for a bounce back. Japan is just the latest in a string of Asian economies to report drastically lower second quarter GDP data. That shouldn't be a surprise though, no one escaped the reach of the pandemic, and even if there weren't strict lockdowns put in place, people generally stayed indoors and didn't spend money. China warns of imminent war against US, potential Gog and Magog, says Rabbi. As US aircraft carriers sail the South China Sea, many Chinese military analysts are warning that a military confrontation is inevitable. Rabbi Pinchas Winston, an end-of-days expert, notes that a prophecy states a military confrontation is inevitable, and China, though not explicitly named in the Bible as an aggressor, has a clear role to play as the nemesis of Israel. Correspondent Yu Zian reported in Think China on a recent scholarly article by Chinese military academic Wang Yufu. The article warned that right now it looks very likely that the Trump administration may make an unexpected move and suddenly decide to initiate a military conflict with China in the South China Sea by November. As if the prediction were not grim enough, Xi Yuhan went on to cite another Chinese military academic, Shen Hu, who predicted a military conflict as well. With 2 U.S. aircraft carriers loitering in the Indo-Pacific, bombers stationed in Guam, and surveillance planes conducting frequent runs around China, the intention of the U.S. is no longer a show of strength through training, but more of a preparing for battle, Shen wrote. Rabbi Pinchas Winston, a prolific end-of-days author, had a distinctly prophetic understanding of the situation in the South China Sea. Though it is true that there is no explicit reference to China in the Bible, that does not preclude understanding China in a prophetic role, Rabbi Winston told Breaking Israel News. The gematria, or Hebrew numerology, of Gog and Magog is 70, alluding to the 70 nations. This can certainly include China. It's also interesting to note that, according to the Mongolian tradition, their nation was descended from Magog. Iran sentences pastor and wife to prison for security crime of evangelism. A pastor and his wife have lost their appeals against prison sentences for national security-related crimes in Iran, including conducting evangelism. NGO Christian Solidarity Worldwide reported Monday. Iranian courts have sentenced Pastor Victor Bet Temazara to 10 years in prison, 10 years, for conducting evangelism and illegal house church activities, is what they call it, while his wife Shamira Izavili was given a 5-year sentence for membership of a group with the purpose of disrupting national security and gathering and colluding to commit crimes against national security. As noted by CSW, these charges seem more similar to a normal church meeting or church activities rather than issues of national security. Though the couple had the last hearing, which was initially scheduled for June 1st, was cancelled without any reason being provided. On July 19th, Bet Tamaraz was told by his lawyer that his appeals had been rejected, no further appeals being possible. According to Article 18, a non-profit that seeks to protect and promote freedom of religion.
Justice, man!
On August 11th, Azivia was told that she had to report to Evin prison in Tehran by Sunday, August 16th. The couple's son, Ramil, had also been imprisoned in Evin for 4 months after being arrested in 2019 while on a picnic with Christians. He was given an early release on February 27th due to the coronavirus pandemic spreading in the prison. North Koreans are ordered to hand over pet dogs for restaurant meat as the country is rocked by food shortages. Dictator Kim Jong-un announced in July that owning a pet is now against the law. Authorities are identifying homes with dogs in Pyongyang and rounding them up, and some of the dogs are sent to either state-run zoos or sold to dog meat restaurants. Kim Jong-un has declared the pet dogs are a symbol of capitalist decadence and ordered that dogs in Pyongyang are rounded up, and owners are fearful that their beloved pets are being used to solve the nation's food shortages. Dictator Kim announced in July that owning a pet is now against the law. denouncing having a dog at home as a tainted trend of bourgeois ideology. Sorry if I sound a little off, guys. My tooth is just killing me tonight. I have to go see my dentist friend like tomorrow. Authorities have identified households with pet dogs and are forcing them to give them up or forcefully confiscating them and putting them down. Some of the dogs are sent to state-run zoos or sold to dog meat restaurants. It's so terrible. A recent UN report stated that as many as 60% of North Korea's 25.5 million people are facing widespread food shortages that have been worsened by international sanctions imposed on the regime for its nuclear missile programs. Dog meat has long been considered a delicacy on the Korean peninsula, although the tradition of eating dogs is gradually fading out in South Korea. Still, an estimated 1 million dogs are reared on farms to be consumed every year in the South. Man's best friend is still a staple on the menu in the North, however, with a number of dedicated dog restaurants in Pyongyang. Dog meat is most popular in the hot and humid summer months, as it is believed to provide energy and stamina. Often served in a spicy soup or stew with vegetables, it's also known for raising the blood temperature in the cold winter months. Works in the hot and the cold, eh? Sure. The Chusun Ilbo reported that pet owners are cursing Kim Jong-un behind his back, but there's little they can do, as to refuse to comply with the authorities could be interpreted as an act of defiance of a leader who likes to be referred to as the divine dignity. Historic August 2020 derecho destroyed over 1 million acres of crops in the U.S. A devastating derecho ripped through several Midwest states on August 10, 2020, leaving a path of destruction, more than 1.5 million customers without power, and more than 405,000 hectares or 1 million acres of destroyed or damaged crops. Northern Illinois University meteorology professor Victor Gensini described the event as one of the worst weather events of 2020 in the United States. The storm ripped through the heart of the Corn Belt, a region of the Midwest United States that has dominated corn production in the country since the 1850s, with wind gusts up to 180 kilometers or 112 miles per hour, causing huge economic impact which is expected to be widespread across the farming community. Price of corn is going for about $3.25 a bushel. So the overall economic impact could be $3.2 billion if we can't salvage some of the crop that was damaged, Weather Nation reports. Whatever happens on the farm, the consumers are going to feel it. That is just the way it goes, Ty Higgins from the Ohio Farm Bureau said. Consumers nationwide could be in store for a higher meat prices and increased fuel prices towards the end of the year, Higgins said, adding that it doesn't stop there. Trickle-down effects could even carry over into the next year as a direct result of the derecho. A lot of the damaged fields were actually growing corn seeds for planting in the 2021 season. So farmers are worried that there might be a shortage of seed corn for next year as well. The storm hit the Midwest on Monday, August 10th, 2020, leaving about 1.5 million customers without power, toppling numerous trees and vehicles, and causing major widespread property damage across several states. Thanks for watching, guys. I should be starting my live shows in about 3 days from now, so make sure you guys are all subscribed. That way you'll know when I go live, and I hope to see all you guys there. God bless.